At the beginning of 2018, I thought I was going to Peru. Didn't happen. Maybe 2019? My brother Chris went to Korea in February. The day he came home, he hit me with his plan to do a working holiday visa in Australia for a year. At first, I wasn't sure I wanted to give up my plans for Peru to do this, but after looking more into it, I decided to spend the next few months saving money, got the visa, and we took off. We left at the end of June. Stop number 1, Shanghai, China. We just arrived in the airport in Shanghai. We had a 17-hour layover and were determined to take advantage of it. We didn't have long, but the energy of Nanjing Road was enough to convince me I have to come back and see more one day. This is the end of our China adventures. Next up, Seoul. We got a couple hours, but we're gonna head over there, just try to be early and be ready. After a short rest, we hopped on a plane to Seoul, South Korea. We just arrived in Seoul at the Incheon airport. Chris wanted me to see it before we got to Australia, and it did not disappoint. Fighting jet lag, we saw the breathtaking Gyeongbokgung Palace, stepped back in time in the Bukchong Hanok village, and experienced 21st century Seoul in the Hongdae district. Oh my gosh, dude. I also took some day trips to places like Nami Island, a beautiful island most famous for being a filming location in the K-drama Winter Sonata, as well as a town surrounded by a massive fortress known as Suwon Hwasong Fortress. But none of these compared to the last two things I got to do before leaving. Namsan Tower, or North Seoul Tower. If you watch K-drama, you've probably seen this thing before. It really showed the beauty and size of Seoul like nothing else I'd seen during my stay. To end it off, my brother and I found ourselves in South Korea's largest theme park, Everland. And that did it. Sadly, our time in Korea came to a swift end. On our way to Australia, we had a 17-hour layover in Manila in the Philippines. I forgot how nice the people in the Philippines can be. It feels really cool to be back here, honestly. It had been over a year since we'd been there, and it really brought me back to that first trip we ever did. I can't wait to spend a lot more time in that country. Chris. Yeah. Ni hao.
Ni hao, konnichiwa, annyeonghaseyo.
Finally, we touched down in Sydney. We only had one night, but we made it count. The Opera House in Sydney Harbour lived up to the hype.
We live otaku.
We're here right now at the Sydney Opera House. What was meant to be our final stop was Brisbane, capital of Queensland, nestled right between the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast. I, for one, fell in love with the city, going out most every day, always finding something new and exciting. A little over 2 months in, I still had no job. Not for lack of trying. Money was running low and I needed to make a decision. Stay and hope I can find something soon, or use my remaining funds to see what I could before I had to leave. Today, I'm going out on my first ever solo adventure. I took off alone with just a backpack. My first stop, the Gold Coast. I spent 2 days doing nothing but exploring. After the Gold Coast, I knew I needed to see the Sunshine Coast. I took the train up to Mooloolaba and was blown away by the chill vibes. I explored my way up through Kowloon and ended up in what may be, to this day, one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, Noosa Heads. There's almost no one on this part of the trail, on the beach. This is insane, it's so empty. As much as I wanted to keep heading north, funds were low. I flew back to Sydney where I spent 2 weeks living out of hostels, trying to see as much as possible before I had to leave. My time in Australia ended much sooner than I expected it to when I first arrived, but I have no regrets about it, and it's an experience I will never forget. I'm just realizing it's coming down to my final hour in Australia. After a lot of research, I found it was actually cheaper for me to fly to Hawaii, stay in a hostel for 5 days, and then fly home. So of course, I jumped on it. I only got to explore around the Honolulu area, but going from seeing fireworks on the famous Waikiki Beach to hiking 2 different extinct volcanoes is absolutely something I'll remember forever. I really didn't get to spend enough time here, and I plan to return to see the other islands of Hawaii at some point. Finally, I flew home, where I've been doing nothing but working and saving money. The adventure not only continues in 2019, I'm working tirelessly to up my quality and return to my favorite destination, the Philippines, as well as a few surprises. Keep your eyes peeled. I'll see you when the adventure continues.